I'm sitting here in the dark. When I sit in the dark, that is when I get the most information, and that is when I'm able to really tap into, information and spiritual information and shit like that. I had to put the covers on me. I'm sitting here in the dark. I have my camera on, but I'm in the dark. That's why you can't see anything. And I said, let me put the cover over me because I don't want no men seeing this fat booty I got, and y'all gonna be hitting me up asking me, can you have some? No, you can't. Anyway, one thing I noticed, it is very important. I know people hear this all the time, but it is very important that you drink enough water because I had been feeling really, really like odd. I had just felt off. And I started drinking more and more water, especially before I go to bed. If you drink a lot of water before you go to bed, you will sleep like a baby. I mean, it is the best fucking sleep. It is like you are you're beyond the fucking Twilight Zone or some shit like that. But anyway, I just wanted to come through. Y'all know I'm joking or whatever. Anyway, I had me a bowl of vanilla ice cream with a small gourmet chocolate brownie. Chow. Got it from a bakery. It was delicious. But that ain't what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about this movie. Let me get, serious now about what I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this movie that I saw on Netflix. I have a 30-day free subscription to Netflix, and I might just go ahead and switch over to Netflix because Amazon Prime ain't shit. Their movies are it just ain't shit. But I want to talk about this new movie of Tyler Perry's that everyone is talking about called Fall from Grace. I'm not going to go into the storyline or the plot line. Watch the fucking movie for yourself. Judge it for yourself. But I will touch on a few things. Basically, this woman, black woman, played by Crystal Fox, who also plays on Tyler Perry's show The Have and the Have Nots. She plays Hannah, by the way, on The Have and the Have Nots. Okay. She plays this woman in this movie who is a successful single black woman, attractive. And I remember Crystal Fox when she used to play on In the Heat of the Night. Some of you younger people may not remember that, but that was an old show from back in the day. It was a crime show or police show, and she used to play on there, and she still looks good. That goes to show you, good black don't fucking crack. She played Luann Johnson on there. She still looks fucking good. But anyway, that's another story. So basically, she marries this dude who turns out to be a con artist, a just a horrible motherfucking person. He scams her out of her money, and I'm not going to spoil it for people who actually want to see the movie. So, it's just an awful, he puts her through an awful, horrible experience, and she's accused of his murder. So anyway, here's where the symbology and the occult comes in. Now, I did see a few people say that they were dragging the movie. I don't know why, but it's probably because a lot of people do not like how Tyler Perry, how can I put this? They don't like how he portrays black men, heterosexual black men in his movies. One thing for certain you do know about Tyler Perry, he is not too fond of black men, especially heterosexual black men. I get that. You know what I mean? When I say I get it, doesn't mean I agree with it because I would never, ever, if I had, a way to do what he did, my movies would never depict heterosexual black men in that horrible manner in which he depicts them, you know. But then, something really stuck out to me and something got my attention. And something said to me, well, you have to look beyond and you have to look at the story. There's a story that's being told, but then there's a story that's being told in an untold manner, if that makes sense. It's the story that's not being told, but being told on a subliminal manner, if in a subliminal manner, if that makes sense. I know a lot of people are not going to get that, but sometimes you have to, let me say it like this. Sometimes you have to look outside the box, and outside of that box to get what's really going on, because there were a lot of distractions in that movie to throw you off. Now, I know a lot of people, like I said earlier, do not like how Tyler Perry, depicts heterosexual black men in his movies. But I mean, what is new? What's new? He has always depicted heterosexual black men as horrible people in his movies. And we all know that that is not really, those of us who are really conscious, we know that that's not true. That is simply not fucking true. And I can say for certain, after I did my healing and stuff like that and really started to connect with more heterosexual black men, I learned that, my opinion of a lot of heterosexual black men, was based upon the pain and shit that I went through in my own life. And I had to heal from that. Yeah, I'll get on here and point out, certain symbolism and shit, but I don't have any hatred, towards, heterosexual black men. Tyler Perry does. And that's evident. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get down to the symbology. So, first of all, I've been noticing a trend among black men lately that we did not see before. And I talked about this before in one of my other videos. And that is all of these fucking tattoos that black men are getting all over their bodies. What the fuck is up with that shit? So, the dude in the movie who played Grace's husband, he was a young dude. He was younger than her anyway. This dude had a bunch of tattoos over his body. The energy that was resonating from his character was not the energy of a black man. Let me say that again. The energy that was resonating from his character was not the energy of a black man. And what they tried to do was they tried to distract you from actually seeing the symbology by using other side, or how can I put this? They used other storylines within that movie to distract you from what was really being, said. The untold story that is really being told on a subliminal level. And what he was, and I know I'm taking, I'm a Virgo, so I like details. What he was really telling you in that movie, I know, again, a lot of emotion, but what he was really telling you is that a lot of these black men, like this particular black individual that was in this movie, they have black skin, but they're not black kin. These niggas are another species. They are not real niggas anymore. And that is what Tyler Perry is really telling people in this movie, A Fall from Grace. Listen to the title of the movie, A Fall from Grace. See, it's not just about the woman who plays the character of Grace. It's talking about the black man and the black woman's fall from grace in totality and the breakdowns in the relationships between the black man and the black woman. And this particular character, I forgot the character's name. This particular character, you can tell by looking at his physicality. You can tell by the tattoos. That is why I brought up the tattoos. Black men didn't used to get their bodies defaced like that. You can tell by everything that he was wearing, from the earrings, all of the rings. That is not how black men used to present themselves. That's not how black men used to present themselves. You can tell that that is an entirely different energy and an entirely different species. And that is what we're dealing with. And that is what Tyler Perry was telling people on a subliminal level in that movie. And that's really it. I mean, the dude was a different fucking species. That was not a real black man in that movie. That character was not a real black man. And they're telling you that a lot of these niggas that you're running into, they are a different species. They're not, how can I put this? They don't have that divine spark. So in other words, they are representations of the demiurge, basically. You could look in that man's eyes. He was channeling. Now, I'm not saying the actor who plays him. No, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about the character and the story that was being told. The symbology behind, whatever they were saying. See, everyone was so wrapped up into Grace and her story. But when you listen to the title, again, Fall from Grace, they're not just talking about the character of Grace. They're talking about, again, the relationships between black men and black women in totality, and how black men have fallen and how they have taken on this new energy and they are a new fucking species. That is why they're getting all these fucking tattoos and shit, because on a subliminal level, they are ashamed to have fucking melanin. I remember Frances Cress Welsing, in one of her books, she talked about how Caucasians would get tattoos and stuff like that because on a subliminal level, they were, trying to add color to their skin. That's what she was saying. And now you see black men repeating that same pattern. I don't like listen, I do not like no man with no whole bunch of fucking tattoos all over his fucking body. One tattoo is okay, but if you have a bunch of tattoos all over your chest, all over your face. I remember I dated this one dude. He had tattoos everywhere. I mean, everywhere. He even had a tattoo on his motherfucking dick. I'm just being 100. And he was just a fucking weirdo, and I'm not going to even talk anymore about him, but that's the story that's being told. That this is not an original black man. That is what I saw. But they tried to distract you with the other storylines in the fucking movie. They tried to distract you. I thought it was a pretty good movie because there's a major motherfucking twist in that motherfucking movie that I just did not see coming. And that is what I'm talking about. So I for what it was worth, it was a pretty good movie. I'm not going to say it was the best in the world, but it was a pretty good movie. It was entertaining. But that man who married Grace, the movie is really about the symbology of that species that he is and that he has become, and that species that the black man has become. They're not real niggas anymore. And I know that may hurt, and I know that may not sound right, and I'm not coming from a place of, being emotional. I'm coming from a place of being a scientist and looking at the symbology behind it. See, they've been saying this, and they showed you this in the movie Get Out. They showed you in the movie Get Out what was really going on, and how black men would be shifting into another type of species. They showed you that symbolically in Get Out. If you remember Get Out, the black men in that movie weren't really black men. You feel what I'm saying? They had black skin, but they weren't black men. Because the character in the movie fall from grace, that is not how a real black man acts. That ain't no real motherfucking black man. And see, that is what black women are running into because they see the skin and they're not recognizing that it's not the kin. And that is what a lot of black women are running into. And that is what they were showing you in that movie as well. That just because they got the skin does not mean that it's our kin. And that motherfucking nigga, he was doing some really fucked up shit. Now, I know black men can do some fucked up ass shit, but sometimes we have to take a step back, and I had to do the same thing. Because even when I had all of my anger and disappointment towards black men, you know, the more conscious I became, or rather, the more my consciousness expanded and the more knowledge and wisdom I gained, I began to take a step back and say, well, wait a minute. Are these really black men that I'm fucking dealing with? Or are these another species that just has black skin? And once I began to really connect the dots and started recognizing the symbology that was being told in these different movies, like Get Out, then that is when I began to understand, okay, these are not real black men. See, I can see the difference. You have to have a spiritual eye to see the difference. They're not real black men. So sometimes, ladies or gentlemen or whoever the fuck, sometimes, when a person rejects you, sometimes rejection is a blessing. Rejection can be a blessing sometimes. But that is what I saw in the movie Fall from Grace. They were telling the story once again how some of these black men are a different species now. And it's not the same energy. And when I say a different species, it's not the same energy. Now, remember, we've had movies that have really told us this, throughout time. Strange Invaders, that was a movie where people looked human, but in actuality, they weren't human. Now, a lot of people, they took it to the alien theme or whatever the case may be, and they started making it about aliens invading Earth. But what they were really telling you is that it's not necessarily about an alien invasion in that sense, but it's more so of another species or another energy, rather. Let me just say it that way. Another energy, a foreign energy that is infecting the minds of black men. In particular, it affects black women too. It affects everybody. But I only talk about black people. And it mainly affects the minds of black men for some reason. It really affects the mind of black men. So it's not, like in Strange Invaders, they had they had people who looked human, but they really weren't human. They were aliens. So like I said, we may have the same skin, but we're not kin. They showed you the same thing in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And they've had several versions of that. See, a lot of these movies are telling you something in a more dramatic way. Because Hollywood makes everything dramatic and scary. But what they're really telling you is that there's another energy. That's the same thing Get Out was telling you. That it's another energy. They're up under another energy. They're not up under the same morphic grid that most of us niggas are anymore. These niggas now are up under a totally different morphic grid or morphic field. Let me say it that way. That is why they act the way that they do. That is why they get all these fucking tattoos and all of this shit to transform their appearance. See, people ain't been peeping that. See, I've been peeping it. And it's not just about the tattoos. It's about the transformation of how they act, how they talk, how they interact with other black people. And see, like I said, instead of getting emotional about it, sometimes, and I'm talking about myself too, sometimes you have to take a step back and say, what the fuck is really going on, especially as an occultist or a person who practices magic or any type of occultism, you have to take a step back sometime, take your emotion out of it, and look at it and examine it like a scientist. So that is what they were telling you in this movie, Fall from Grace. She was dealing with a totally different species. She thought she was dealing with a black man, but that wasn't no black man. That was a species that had black skin, but it wasn't black kin. And that is my review on the movie Fall from Grace. Thank you.